What is going on, all my YouTubers? I'm super excited today, guys, because one of my final pieces is in to be able to drive this goddamn car. So, we all know where we're pretty much at with the car. I really don't need to go over any of that, but this right here is a major part. And, I don't even need that. I just got it in the mail today, and we are, I'll say, hours away from driving this thing. All my custom brake lines. They didn't give me a sticker though. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I didn't get a finishing line sticker. I'll have to ask Josh about it. I had these custom made by me, custom made for me from a company called Finishing Lines. Owner's name is Josh. Real nice guy, good guy, high quality parts. I put his brake lines on my last car, my Integra. There are pictures of that car still being used on his website because I actually went more over and above where I went with this car. That car was on a rotisserie, fully media blasted, painted inside out, underneath, blah, blah, blah. I measured all my stuff, sent him a message. We went over all fittings, lengths, bends, and everything, and this is what he came up with. And you can get pretty much any color you want. I got green, obviously. But they are nice quality hoses. I mean, I had them on my last car and they were great. So I got my two fronts, I got my two rears, and I got, oh, I'm sorry, my two rears and my body to rear axle. I got those in. I also got my last Vibrant bulkhead fitting in. I forgot that I didn't have this on the rear line on the body. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to install these brake lines. We're going to get fluid into the system. You see, it's just me down here. I bought a Mako brake bleeder. I like this one because you can lock the trigger and it has a reservoir filler. A lot of these ones, you gotta hold that trigger down the whole time. It's annoying, and how you gonna walk away and check the reservoir and make sure everything's good? It wasn't much. I'm sure you can buy off-brand ones, Napa or wherever, but they come to me. Let's get all four wheels blown off this thing. Let's get some light under it, and let's get these brake lines installed, alright?
Let's go.
Okay, now that all 5 brake lines are in the car, tightened up, I believe all the fittings are tight. We'll find out when I start putting fluid to it. The next thing you got to do is bleed the brakes. I personally usually would normally bench bleed the master, put it in the car, crack all the bleeders, put buckets under them, and let it bleed until they start dripping out. But it's a completely brand new system. That'll take forever. So I showed you guys already the brake kit. Showed you guys the bleeder kit. I literally bought it brand new. Got a little hooky on it. Nice clear hose with a 90 on it, which is nice so you don't have to take the wheel off if you got this car in the air. It's much easier. Like I said, I like this. So you're going to fill your master up and fill this jug up, and it sits on top of your master, clips onto the side of it. You know, I'll spin this thing all the way in. And it's got a ball valve here. And it's just going to fill fluid as it takes it. Now, I mean, check it. I don't know how much it's going to take. But let's get some fluid in this car and see what happens, alright? When I bleed brakes, what I was always taught, you start at the furthest wheel from the master and you work your way up. So you want to start at the right rear, go to the left rear, go to the right front, go to the left front. Just the way I was always been taught. You can do it however way you want. Just my... There's that whole rig. Seems pretty simple, right? Let me figure out what size the bleeders are. Now remember, the rear's on one line. So it's one line going back and it tees off, so you'll have air in both those tees, so you might have to go back and forth a couple of times. Pretty much a small bottle through the system so far. Doubt it has a pedal yet. It might have a little bit of something, but you might be tempted to want to reuse this because it's brand new fluid. You just put it through your system. You don't want to reuse this. I don't know if I can show you. I don't know if you could see all the dirt at the bottom of that container. I made sure that container was clean before I used it. So all that gunk came out of those brake lines, which all brand new brake lines, brand new calipers. The rears are used, but I rebuilt them. Brand new master, everything's brand new. So you don't want to save that. Dump that out in your oil bucket or something. I went in there, I pumped it up. There's still a ton of air in the system. Can't even get a pedal yet. Now that you put pressure in it, this might be a good time to start checking all your fittings. What was that? And make sure you don't have any leaks. All them brake lines are bled. I used the sucker like 3 or 4 times. I pumped it a bunch of times. I actually ended up having my wife come down just to get the final bit done. I'm not sure how this was supposed to feel. I've never had a 93 Cobra Master on a Maxim Motorsports brake kit, so I don't know where it's supposed to feel. It feels damn good right now. The brakes lock up, my line lock works, everything seems to work. The pedal feels great. We'll see, you know, if these need to be bled again or not, but it's all done. Probably spent an hour on it total. Let me show you guys everything. All the brake lines, those look good. I like those. And I got the one up over the rear axle. And obviously the other one in the right front of the car. Like I said, hit up Josh at Finishing Lines. He'll take care of you. I promise you will not be unsatisfied with what he makes. Now that your brake lines are done, I'm ready to take this thing off jack stands. But before I take this thing off jack stands, there's one thing that you should do, and that's called nut and bolt check. And what that is simply as it says, check every nut and bolt in the car. 3 years I got into this thing. I might have left something loose. I could have left the motor mount bolt loose because I set this motor in 2 years ago, and who knows, I might not have ever tightened it up. Check your bell housing bolts. Make sure you check all your suspension bolts. Check your brake mounting bolts. Check every bolt in the car. The last thing you want to do is take this thing for its maiden voyage, go to get to the end of the street, and you got no steering because the bolt just fell out of it and you wreck the car. Or you can't stop. Or the shock falls out. Something. Spend the time working on the car so nothing happens. What I advise you to do is go get a paint marker. Every bolt you check, put a dot on it. I left my green paint marker at work, which I'm kind of upset about. I meant to bring it home and I forgot. So I'm just going to use a Sharpie for right now. Get like a green, red, pink, something fluorescent, something neon, so you can see that you checked that bolt. A lot of bolts, hundreds of bolts in this car. So you don't want to be like, oh, did I tighten that one? I don't remember. And I'm too lazy to get up and get the wrench. So get the paint marker. Tighten it, mark it, tighten it, mark it, tighten it, mark it. Beautiful. Now, and that's also something you should do semi-annually. Before you go out to the track, you come home from the track, you should check it. These things loosen up. If you go on Doug's page on Motion Raceworks, he has put up plenty of pictures of stuff backing off, and it could be expensive and deadly. So this is not something you don't want to mess with. So right now, I'm going to roll under this car with my creeper. One thing I did is, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want to do, but one thing I bought from Snap-on was this cool tray they got. It's a little expensive, it's Snap-on, it's everything else, but I thought it was worth it. It's got a magnetic bottom, but I don't think the magnets, I mean, you don't want to hold it upside down, but it's okay. But what's cool about it is you can put metric in the front, standard in the back. You can put standard in the front, standard in the back, metric, metric. The cool thing is these pop out and they come with two spares, metrics and standards. So I'm taking all the necessary sockets I need to check the car, putting them in this tray, and I could just walk underneath the car with this thing, and bang, I got it all there. Alright, it's a good thing I went over and checked all these nut and bolts. I found a bunch loose. A lot of it was having to do with previous owner mocking stuff up in the car. I never checked it. Like the lower control arm bolts to the subframe. The caster camber plates were loose. back on the ground. That means this thing's almost wrapped up again. Brake lines are all done. Brake lines are bled. We'll see how well they work when I get the fuel cell back in it. I'm waiting on my Scott Rod trunk panel to come in. Put that in, put the fuel cell in on top of it. Back this thing up, bleed the freaking coolant in it, and try to take it for a ride, guys. So that's a wrap for this video. I hope you guys really think about hitting up Josh for those brake lines. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys need to get in the garage. Like me, I feel like crap, getting sick. Baby's about due, kitchen's torn apart. But we're working on that hot rod. All right, guys? Have a good night.